Start with the next chapter, that is strings. So string is anything that can be quoted. Okay, just for now. Okay, string could be anything that can be quoted with using double or single quotes, right? So this is a format in which you can explain strings. So strings can be numbers. 3 is a number. You can also have space in strings. It doesn't matter whatever you do in a string, right? Unless it is quoted in between. So this is a string. In order to print this, you can use a print command, and there you go. When you run it, you get your output. 3 is a number. So this is a string now. Also, the same thing can be done with double quotes. So when you go print, you go this way. Print that this is a number. Okay. So when I run the program, I get both the quotes executed correctly. Now, what is the purpose of using either single quote or double quote while doing the same thing? The purpose is, suppose that when I need to print a single quote as a statement, I can use that by using a double quote to initiate a string. What I will do is I'll initiate a double quote and I will say A isn't a number, like this, right? I can do this. Yeah, close the string. So when I execute this line, you see I can execute the single quote also along with it. If it would have been a single quote, you see this wouldn't have been a proper string, because once you start a quote, Python will end it wherever it finds a similar quote next to it. So the remaining part is excluded as a string. So to make it a string, either use a double quote, right, or vice versa. So this was all about it. Now suppose if you have to print a multi-line string, so there are two possibilities that you can use. You can either use 3 quotes and start like this is a multi-line string, right? Whichever way you want to end it, right? It's all up to you. So when you print this, along with all the tabs that we have yesterday, all the space, blank space, it will print it in the same manner, right? It will print it in the same manner. Get it? So this is all about multi-line string. Great. Right. So another method. Now Python has a special access or a special slot reserved for this backslash, even in the print statement. So when I'm printing a string, when I say this is, and when I say backslash n, so n means next line. This is a, and I'll again use backslash multi-line string. So you see, within a single quote I can do that. Now there are different methods to solve a single problem. You see, we again got a multi-line string here also. Python, the beauty of Python is that it has multiple ways to achieve a simple target, a same target. What I mean to say, it all depends upon your choice, how and when you want to do that. There are also a lot of different keywords. I will attach a link to it where you can see, like this would mean a tab, a space of a tab, and somewhat around that, like, get it. So now what happens is, because of this backslash, suppose if I have to print this, I will say C, and I'll do this. Okay, and I'll try to print this. Suppose if I am printing this statement, what I get is I only get one single slash, because the backslash has a special purpose in strings. So in order to print a condition where you need to use more than one backslash in consecutive manner, you'll have to give a keyword R. Okay, what R would mean here is a raw format of the string. What R would mean here is a raw format. It means print as it is without considering anything into it. Just print without even reading what the string is. Don't go into it. right? So this was all about basic things that you need to understand strings. There is a lot more that can be studied in numbers and strings. I'll go on attaching links in the description box that will help you learn it better. Let's move on to indexing of strings, index and slicing the index. What do I mean by slicing the index? Okay, so let's do that. Suppose whenever I write a string, whatever I write, say like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever I write, each keyword when it is printed, the Python will assign an index to it. What do I mean by index? So let me come directly to what do I mean by index. Index is the position where that character is placed by Python. So index always starts with 0. For example, if I say in a classroom, students have their roll number, right? So say Gaurav is on a roll number. Gaurav is the name of a person who is on a roll number 37. So whenever I will call 37, I'm addressing Gaurav, right? In same way, Python also has indexes for string, right? So for example, let me take a very simple string and create a variable for it. Okay, and always string start with this quote 1. Okay, so this index in Python starts from 0, hence I am starting my string with 0 to make you understand this very simply, right? So let me do this. Great. So this is one string that I have created. Let's execute it. So it will be stored in a variable somewhere in the memory, right? It's stored now. Now when I print a, and I okay, so let me do this one thing. I'll also include a space. No, let it be. For now, let's keep this example. So when I have to print the string character which is at index 3, so you see at index 0 we have 0 itself, because for the convenience sake I have done that. We have 1, 2, 3, so right. Okay, let me just take a simple one more example right side by to it, which will be your alphabets A B C D. Okay, A B C D E F G H, something like this, right? So when I also print B at 3, now it will be a little clear to you what I mean by indexing. It is the position of the character. So you see, when I printed A at 3, it gave me 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So third index I have 3. Now when you look at B, what did it print at the third index? It will go, this is 0th index, it has A, 1 index has B, 2 index has C, the third index has D, hence the output is D, right? So index always refers to the position where the character is. Now for example, if I had a variable like 0, 1, 2 space D, so now when I'm printing C at the third index, I'll get a simple space, a blank space, because there's a space at the third index. See, that's the output, a blank space over here. Yeah, this is the output, the blank space. Okay, so this was all about index and how they start from 0, not from 1. Python gets a bit tricky in this sense that the index doesn't start from 1, which I guess sometimes in other languages do, but in Python it starts from 0, right? So now let me introduce to you the slicing of a string. Now let's relate it with a very practical example. Suppose that you have your driving lessons. I'm not very well aware if this is the case in other countries too, but suppose in India you have a driving license that has a special code to your driving license. Well, let's assume that there is some identity card that has special code like 3XCD45702018 E capital F G. Like usually you find such long codes somewhere related to some tag, right? Maybe it can be used for parcels like, yeah, Amazons and Flipkarts, your bills which are generated, they usually have such complicated codes. Now why I'm using this, because I'm trying to give you a practical example of where we can use slicing of strings. Now for example, suppose like let's say this xcd over here, this is a very special symbol that signifies something. Maybe it signifies the area from which this code was generated, a state code, something like that, if this specifies. Now out of this tag you only want the state code for now, for your example. Say because you are running a program where you need to find a state from which this code was generated. There's a lot of information. Maybe 2018 is the year of packaging, right? 4567 is something like a pin code, and this is like a state code xcd. So there is always a code complexity. So what we can do is, let me first assign it to a variable a is equals to this, right? Now what I can do is say I will go print a, but now how do I need to print it? So this follow this thing. If you follow this, you are all done with the slicing properties. First you need to answer me where on which index is x. Okay, if your answer is 1, you are right, because indexing starts from 0, 3 is at 0, and x is at 1. So we need 1, and we need the index up to, you see, 0 1 2 3. We need up to the third index. We need till d, right? We need xcd as our output. So we will use this colon, and after that what you will do is we will print, we need third index, right? But here is a funny part of Python. If I execute this, it will only give me up to c. Check it out yourself. Okay, okay, that is using a previous value of the a. So let's update the a also. You see, it's only giving me xc. What's the logic behind this is that this is one more funny part in Python, that when you are specifying the upper limit, you always have to specify +1. Like suppose if you needed till d, that was the third index, what you need to do is you need to specify +1. 3 plus 1, that is 4. So it will always print 1 till 4 minus 1. That is how the indexing works, right? When I do this, now I will get xcd. Now for example, whenever my program will scan such codes, what will happen is I will always be able to generate the state code out of it. So suppose this state code is ACD, and state code is usually always 3 numbers, 3 alphabets. We are assuming that. So whenever, suppose my task was to scan state codes, I'll be able to achieve it just by slicing strings, right? I got the state code as ACD. Got it. So this is about slicing. Now I'll just quickly explain you some other things regarding slicing. So suppose if I have to slice, so let's go back to our previous a. I'll execute this a. Right now a has this memory, not this one. A has this memory right now. Okay, so now suppose if I have to execute a once again, and right now what I want to do is, now if I specify only this colon, okay, first of all in the square brackets, if I specify only this colon is read as everything, only if I specify this colon. So what I'm trying to say is, in a, print everything. The second value that I will write in this bracket is known as limit. Just like this is a lower limit and this is a upper limit, we use a colon to separate the upper and lower limits. Over here, when we use colon, we mean everything, and when we use a number, it means limit. We need everything up to 4. So if we look over here, we need everything up to the 4th index. This is what this type of expression means, right? Everything up to 4th index, right? So it always gives you -1, right? So 0 1 2 3, that's what you have, everything up to the 4th index. Now what if I do this? It means everything up to everything. It is similar to just doing print a, right? It's similar to just doing print a, everything up to everything. So when I execute this, you get everything up to everything and a itself, right? So this is some different ways you can slice strings. Now one other thing that you need to note is, whenever you add -4 or minus any index, it means from the last. Now if you look at this string 0 1 2 3 4 9, 0th is the starting point, 9th is the ending point, right? Your 9 number is the ending point. So when I say -4, it will count from this side. It will go 1 2 3 4 in this manner, right? Fourth last value. This is what it means. So what I've written over here is everything after fourth last value, everything after the fourth last value. So that's what it means. Sorry, I used a wrong preposition. It was before what I meant to say, that print everything up to this string, right? This is your fourth character, so print everything up to this. What if I alter this signs? What if I say from the fourth last print everything? From the fourth last print everything. So you will get this, right? From the fourth last print everything. This is that. So it's all about reading the way I explained you, that colon means this thing means everything. Okay, so if I say, can you try to speak what it's written? Okay, yeah, you are right. It is written as print A from the third last character till everything, right? You do this, great. Yes. So by now you have already understood how slicing works, how strings can be sliced. Now let me introduce to you the last concept in slicing. That is, there is a third key character that you can input. So suppose if I input from print A from index 0 up to index 6, okay, but then I specify value 2. Now what is this third value doing over here? This third value is known as your step. It means that when you are reading from index 0 to index 6, you have to read at a step of 2. When you don't specify, in all our previous examples, when you didn't specify this third number, Python always assumes the step to be 1. What it means is that when it will read the first value, now it will not read at a step of 1, it will read at a step of 2. It will directly skip 1 and go to 2. Because the step is 2, right? It will skip 1 and go to the second one. Now again after 2, it will read 4, right? And it will end here because we have a limit only up to the 6th step. You have to read that, and it is upper bound is -1, so it won't print the 6th value. Just check that out. Great. 0 to 4 is your output. Get that? It's quite simple and it's quite easy to slice the strings. If you're a bit overwhelmed by now, don't worry. I always encourage you to open up your Python iCharm or PyCharm or whatever ID you want to use for now, and just side by side parallelly as I'm teaching you, you keep on coding these things and practices a lot. And yeah, one important fact that I would like to add is I'll be adding some links in the descriptions. I keep my videos precise and short just to get you familiar with the concepts, but it doesn't mean that I cover everything that is required for you, right? When in the case of numbers or in the case of strings, this is not the only thing that is possible. There's a lot more keywords and shortcuts that you can learn on your own from the descriptions, because this is just to get you started with very basic Python. So if you are really interested in getting becoming an expert in Python, you need to follow those links that I am posting, right? Now let's come to some other concepts. We are done with the slicing. Let's discuss what are some built-in functions that you can apply to a string. So suppose if I have a string a is equals to this is a string, right? So if you say I go to print a dot, you can see there is capitalize. What this function will do is it will make your first alphabet or first character as capital. Now this will center your strings as per the requirement, or maybe as per the column width it will center that, right? There is encode. Encode will give you the coding format for which you are encoding this string in. There could be normal ASCII or other formats in which the strings are written, right? And what about, like, there's a lot of it, right? Is ASCII or not? If you print this, if it is an ASCII string, it will come yes. If not, it will come false. Is alnum, what it will mean is like alphanumeric. Is the key alphanumeric? It means if the key has alphabets and numbers too, it will give you as true value. Else false. Is decimal, if your string is purely decimal, it will give true. Else not. Is it a digit? If it is a digit in your string, only digit, it will give true. Else not. Is lower. Is, now whatever commands are with is, so it's just cross verifies it. So if I say, let me use this command as alphanum, print a, is a alphanumeric, it reads that. So no, we can clearly see there is no numbers in this string, so the output should be false. Let's try that. When I do this, okay, you get built-in method. Okay, now what is the reason behind it is that whenever you're calling a method, you need to call it with close brackets. For now, just understand this for now, that whenever you don't specify this round brackets, it just gives an output in the form of a Python readable language. To convert it into human readable language, you need to use this. Now when you print this, you will get false. No, it is not alphanumeric, it's false. Okay, so lot of things that can be worked in is like a print. If I say M, capital M is in A, now we can clearly see M is not there in A, so it will give you, okay, it will give you a wrong command, right? So it will give you false. When you say M in A, it will give you false. No, there is no M in A. But when I do T, and when I try to do this, it will again give me an output that is true. Yes, there is a T right over here. There's a T in the string. So there are such things that are used. Again, if you are asking for some logic, why are we learning all this and where it is applicable? So suppose if you have to find out, okay, consider xcd was your state. So you can always use this command, print xcd in A. If it is there in that string, it will give true. So maybe there is some reason or a logic you need to find. If there is an xcd in A, you need to do something with that thing. So this is how in program you will be using all such commands, right? And if it is a false, you will let that thing go. Okay, this is all about the strings. Now let's understand some more concepts, because string is a very wide concept, and if I try to include as much as I can, I'll try to do that. So let's try to use concate method. How can we concatenate strings? Okay, suppose if I have a string A, it means just merging the strings. If I have string A here, which means this is, and if I have string B, which means string, right? What I can do is I can concatenate the strings, print A plus B, so the output would be the merged output. This is a string together, right? This is all about how you can do that. Now if I use this multiplication symbol, what it usually means is that repeat the strings n number of times. So if I specify n to be 3, like 3 times, repeat A 3 times, and I do this, so it is printed 3 times. You get that? So such operations can be operated on strings. You can always Google up to understand more about the strings, right? I guess, yeah, this is all about it, and there are so many more options that you can use. Like suppose if you say print a dot upper, so when you do that and always call this as, yeah, you will get a Python encoded object like this. Use round brackets and then you will get all upper cases, right? Similarly, you can use lower. There's so much that you can do with strings. So instead of just wasting your time and making you watch my video for longer, I would encourage you to go on internet and like try to figure out all these commands. I have specified all the links that you need to become an expert in strings, everything that is required. right? I'll give you one funny way how you can reverse your strings. So suppose if yeah, a is this is right. What I can do is print a, and I will do everything till everything, but step is reversed. That is -1. So now it will give me a reversed string. Get it? SISIHT. It becomes shit, right? See shit. So you see, this is how you can play around with strings. Now, the logic of making this videos is not to have a claim that by watching my videos you become a Python expert, but I'm just here like a friendly neighborhood to help you out with starting somewhere. So this was all you need to learn strings. And don't worry, as we move ahead with our series, we will be using strings so much, numbers so much, that it will become very natural to you to know all these things. You don't have to by heart all this. When I started learning Python, I couldn't even get a print command correctly without producing errors into it. So don't worry, your time will come. The sun will shine on you if you keep on learning and stay motivated. I believe in you, and I hope you can do this. Thanks a lot for watching till the end. See you in the next lecture.